Hello, this is aww-rats at ICC with a introduction video. I am going to be giving group chess lessons at ICC in the very near future. Watch for updates on this in my finger notes and in the Chess Club group. You'll need to join that to be aware of those. They all occur in channel 340. These lessons will be entirely free. They will occur probably on Sunday at 1500 ICC time. I will have videos available for a nominal charge if you wish to have them for your collection. These videos will also come with audio. Okay, my qualifications as a chess player. 30 years ago, I achieved the rating of the title of National Chess Master by passing 2,200 rating points in the United States Chess Federation and going above 2,200 with my first FIDE or International Chess rating. I've maintained that strength and rating ever since. Play a lot of games against a lot of strong players. My experience as a chess teacher, I've given lessons over the years both individually and in small groups. The people that take my lessons always give me good feedback and they always improve their chess. It is my belief I can raise anybody's ability to equal my own if they're willing to put out the time and the effort and listen and follow my directions. I can shortcut a lot of things that you need to learn. Let's put it this way. We all have the same amount of time in every week. We have to eat, we have to sleep, we have to go about our life's regular business. When it comes to chess, our time can be limited. However, with my methods, I can show you what to look at, what to study, and what not to study, how to best maximize your time. Again, these are my qualifications. You will see them as these lessons progress. Certainly by now you've noticed the diagram here and a little caption that says black to play and do the best he can. In a moment, but not yet, I'm going to have you press the pause button on your video and you'll attempt to solve this position. Before that, let me just say this. Most chess problems you look at already give you a clue as what you have to do. And that clue might be something like white mates in 5, or white to play and win with a pin, or white to play, the theme is pawn promotion. You get the idea, the overwork piece, and so forth. However, when we're playing a game of chess, we don't know what the theme is until we discover it. So we don't know if white or black has a win in a given position until we actually analyze the position and solve it. So my approach is never to say white to play and win or black to play and win, but for either side to play and do the best he can. Maybe in this position, black can win. Maybe black is barely hanging on and can find a move that'll save it. We don't know until we solve it. So, with that in mind, I'd also like to add a bonus question here. And that bonus question is, what opening did this come out of? If you look at the position, you might be able to tell. Okay, when I played this game some 30 years ago, it was against a player who had white, who had a rating of 2180, right about where I was at 2200. I spent 9 minutes on this move. In those 9 minutes, I looked at everything that I'll be showing you in about the next 9 minutes. Okay, go ahead and press pause, and then get out your chessboard, set the position up, and have a look. Okay, at this point you should have started the video again, and you're wanting to see what the solution is. And now I'm going to undertake it and explain my thought process as I go. Okay, black to play, do the best he can. The first thing we have to deal with is white has a threat, and that's to take on f7 with his knight on e5. That's a threat that we have to deal with. And there are 4 potential moves for black to play here that deal with that threat. And we're going to examine each one in turn. Each one of these moves we will consider with the term candidate move. In other words, each move is a candidate for selection. We're going to examine each one and accept or reject as quickly as we possibly can so that we preserve time on the clock. Okay, first candidate move is to play rook h8 to f8. That guards the pawn. We'll come back to that. Next candidate move is to play rook from d8 to f8. That also guards the pawn. The third candidate move is to bring our queen on a5 back to c7. This move too guards the pawn. And finally, the last candidate move to play is bishop takes e5, because that removes the attacker of the pawn on f7. Okay, let's take a quick look at each candidate move and see See what we come up with. Rook h8 to f8. Now the first drawback with this move is that it allows a little tactic. The pawn on g7 is overworked. It's guarding h6 and it's guarding f6. So white might be able to get away with a tricky move like bishop takes h6, capturing a pawn. And if black takes back on h6, the knight on f6 is left loose. So let's just reject that move and come back to it if we don't find anything better. Okay. Now let's take a look at the next move in line. Rook from d8 to f8. Now the first drawback I see with this move is that it takes the rook off the semi-half open file where we had some indirect pressure on the semi-backward pawn on d4. The other drawback with rook d to f8 is it shuts our rook on h8 in. That rook on h8 now has no scope. It's going to be a spectator until the rook on d8 or f8 gets back into play. And as long as white keeps that knight on e5 going, sitting there, that problem is not going to go away. So for the moment, we can probably reject rook d to f8 until something better comes along. Now let's look at the next move, queen c7. Okay, if you chose queen c7, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this move. It secures the pawn on f7 and black maintains equality. Nothing wrong with queen c7. However, we have to consider the initial question. Black to play and do the best he can. Was this the best black could do? Well, we don't know yet until we examine bishop takes a5. Let's have a look at bishop takes e5. Okay, bishop takes e5 is a forcing move, and white has no useful Zwischenzug, so the recapture d takes e5 is forced. Now, white has a threat on the knight on f6. Black is going to have to deal with that. And the simplest way to deal with it is a move with force is to take on e5. And this is a tricky move because it allows white some discoveries with that bishop. That bishop can move to a lot of squares and attack the queen. We have to be very careful here. Let's look at the first obvious move and get rid of it. Bishop takes a7. Well, the problem with bishop takes a7 is white can probably just either take the pawn on h5 with his queen, or chase that bishop out of there first with queen a5, and then go back and take on h5. So bishop takes a7 is probably not a good move for white in this position. But the tricky move that I had to analyze was bishop to b6, because this move temples the queen and also threatens to win the exchange. From this position, once again, black has three candidate moves. I'll show you what they are, and we'll examine each one in turn. The first one is queen takes h5. The next one's kind of surprising, but it's playable, is queen takes e1, check. And the last candidate move is queen takes b2. And we need to evaluate each one of those possible endings that black can go into and determine if which one is the best, and if that's the best black can do. Okay, let's look at queen takes h5 first. I believe this to be the poorest of the three choices, simply for the fact that white can probably get a winning endgame, and I'll show you how. Queen takes h5, knight takes h5, bishop takes d8, rook takes d8, and rook ad1. It's my experience in rook versus knight endings that a rook versus a knight and two pawns is a win for the rook, simply because the rook has more maneuverability and white can make a lot of inroads in this type of ending. Black is going to be hard pressed to draw this game. If black wants to draw, he would have been better off in the initial position of playing queen c7. So chances are, if anyone wins this game, it's going to be white that wins. So let's reject taking on h5 with the queen and go back and examine the next move in the series. The next candidate move was to take on e1 with check. Okay, queen takes e1 check, rook takes e1. Now from pawn count chess or point count chess, both sides have 20 points. Black has material equality. Black's probably not losing this, but chances are white's got the winning chances. The reason is that the queen can really dominate in an open board. Black's going to have to make an error for white to win, For the moment, white is tied down to guarding a pawn on h5, and black has his two rooks that can possibly do some damage. The rook might infiltrate onto the 7th rank. Black can have doubled rooks on the d file here in short order. Black can be a nuisance here and have an equal game with a chance to win, but he has to be careful. So this is probably a perfectly logical choice to make, but it's tricky because black has given up his queen. Okay, let's examine the third choice and see how that compares. The third candidate move was simply queen takes b2. Now white needs to take on d8, getting the exchange or the quality as it's known in most parts of the world. Now let's take a look at this position. It's still a middle game because queens are on the board. It threatens to be an ending at any point in the near future, but black has achieved a little bit more here than he did in the other variations. The white queenside pawns are split. They can't guard each other. They are targets. If black wins another one of those pawns, black may very well win this game. This is what we call a strategic imbalance. A strategic imbalance simply implies that there's some kind of imbalance in the position, in this case a rook for a knight and 2 pawns, and the rest of the position is just not symmetrical. So there's an imbalance in the position, and the strategy is that both sides here have winning chances. White can win this, black can win this. I'm not going to analyze this position out any further. We'll just suffice it to say that at this point, black has achieved potential winning chances. The game is certainly not won, but he has a chance to win. Compare that with the initial move of queen a5 to c7, where black maintained equality, and maybe now we can answer the question, the initial question. Let's ask it again. Black to play and do the best he can. Well, black has certainly created winning chances here. That's something, if you're playing for a win, that's the best you can do, and that's the correct answer. If you don't want to risk a loss, then queen c7 is your correct choice. But I'm of the line of thinking that the best you can do is to try for a win, unless it's impractical to do it. Since it's hard to say exactly how white is going to win this game, this is probably the correct solution to the initial question, that black can play this line, and that's the best he can do. We don't have to analyze this out any further to solve the problem. We must now play this game out. And again, that becomes a whole new game, because we have to demonstrate that we can win this. But that's what chess is all about. And you have to be able to analyze positions this way to determine what all the possible lines are, and then make an evaluation and choose the best one. That we do as humans. And if you chose this line and found this line, good for you, you're on the way. If you didn't choose this line, don't feel bad. I don't expect everyone to see this and see all the lines of thinking, the first time out. But now that I've demonstrated it, you have an idea of what potential you can find when you analyze a chess game. Okay, I'm going to call it short now and say thank you so much for your time and looking at this. I look forward to working with you and improving your chess here at ICC. Thank you once again for your time.